All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarasun said he kicked back. Get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. I'm excited, delighted to be accepting members to the General SETI, Sarasun SETI YouTube channels, two powerhouse institutions on YouTube giving you nothing but Black Power, Black Divinity. I want you to subscribe immediately. That's right. I want you to become a member. The link for the membership's right over there in the chat. Click it. Get a video introduction, rundown on the membership, what they entail. You see one you like, you should most definitely join. Even if you don't, I appreciate your presence here at the Sarasun SETI, General SETI YouTube page. Continue to engage, continue to advance. That's right, family. The General got a new website up on Teachable, uploading a lot of dynamic curriculum, powerhouse programs, certificate courses. First one up, 25 steps to the redemption of definitive Black manhood. We need that. Most definitely need that. You can click that link right over there in the chat, family. Get a preview. Also included the Brotherhood of Heru Roundtable live stream where the brothers meet once a week discussing very vital, important, powerful information pertinent to our growth and development. Get over there, check it out. Get a preview of the course. Become a brother, become a member today. Ring the alarm, kingseti.com, online marketplace, official General Sarasun SETI, DVD lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor, accessory for every room in the house. I got something for your family. I know you're going to like it, love. Get over there, check it out. Become a brother. Check it out, say become a brother. Check it out. Get a discount. Shop and save and shop. To all the family out there, know the General got the pop in his page on Patreon. By far over 500 exclusive live streams. It's a mind-blowing video a library. A lot of titles that you've never seen before is on the Patreon. We got them 3-hour lectures. You see that, historically the General be giving them 3-hour lectures. They over there. We talking about some critical subjects too. You need that. Get over there and get it. To all the family out there donated to the General, I thank you, appreciate you for the fact you appreciate me. Any of the family would like to donate. The link is right there in the chat. Thank you very much for appreciating me. And make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels, King SETI, General SETI, Sarasun SETI. Rock that notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up. Like it because you'll love it. Share with your family and friends. And comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because I will ban your ass. Here we go. The eerie last words of Charlie Kirk, seconds before the end. Whoa. Man, that's a motherfucking rap intro. You see what I'm saying? Man, that's motherfucking, that's custom. That's a rap song intro. It can't be timed no better. You see what I'm saying? It can't be timed no better. You see, you needed somebody, motherfuckers need that, and that need to be, I guarantee you, that's going to be an intro in front of a whole lot of goddamn songs. And we got and why did I bring that up? Because the timing, it was like, it was almost like, it was almost like ordained from a higher being. You see what I'm saying? Like, your time is up. You see what I'm saying? That your frequency is so erratic that even, that one of the ancestors, a higher being say, we done with you. You see, immediately, soon as he said, what he, talking, and if you had not heard what he said, the last words that came out of his mouth, he was talking shit about black people. And we ain't the only gang members. We ain't the only gang members. But, that's who he was. That's who he was. And as soon as he said that shit, he met his demise. You see, he met his demise. You can't time that. You can't time that no better. You see, and they always talking about Jesus and they always talking about God. Well, goddamn it, guys, how y'all know that wasn't godly ordained? You see, maybe he ain't who everybody think he is. God, yeah, why would God, if he was embraced by God, why would God let that happen to him? You see, if that's the case. You understand what I'm saying? Why? Why would God let that happen to him like that? You see, get snuffed out in front of 3,000 people. You talk your frequency. You talking about people you ain't got no influence over the black community at all. You just being condescending, you see, to our people because you know that they didn't really, you know what I'm saying, take it to y'all motherfuckers like they should have for the things that y'all did wrong to us. And because our people didn't do it, you see, they feel like, oh, they could punk us, they could say whatever the fuck they want to say. That's really what it is, especially him. And they love him because he say, he could come out in the open and be that voice that, a lot of them want to say it, but they don't say it. You see, and so he can come out and be that voice, that voice that they need to come out and blatantly speak, disrespectfully and very condescending to our people. You see, and so and I went over in every but he don't have no influence in our community whatsoever. So what is he talking about? Nobody's listening to you. Nobody. So you pandering to them races is really what he doing. You see, that's all you doing. You playing on to what playing the fiddle and to how that's the frequency that they on, what they want to hear, and you that's what you gonna be the voice of that racist frequency, and that's why they love you so much because they might not didn't have the heart or the voice to get out there and say it like, oh, Charlie Kirk. You see, and so they honor him. They come out, give him all kind of medals, and cry and weep for him and shit because they don't have the balls to come out there. They might can do it at the dollar store, when they find some old black person that they could talk crazy to and think they could get away with it. You see, or if they think they can, talk to a black person that's scared and shit, and they think they can, but they don't have the heart to get out there. And a lot of them gonna be scared now because of what happened to Charlie. You know what I'm saying? But some of them is gonna try to double down, triple down on this. And they gonna try to become violent behind this. Because but they always talking about freedom of speech. But when we got freedom of speech, they don't like what the fuck we talking about. You see, shut the fuck up. If it's about freedom of speech, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? We got our freedom of speech too. We don't like the motherfucker. That's our freedom of speech. That's our free. We don't like him at all. We and we set up and I know I talk crazy, but I talk crazy because I have to. You understand what I'm saying? After what y'all done did, that's the least I should be able to do. You see, that's the least. But the fact that you've done these things to our people and that have never even tried to really talking about they gave us. No, you gave us in increments. So minuscule increments in areas that it could not have empowered us. You didn't give us no like major bread and shit. Especially back then when our peoples was really about building. You couldn't have gave no kind of money to our peoples like back in the, because they would have shown up built some shit. You see what I'm saying? They would have shown up built. That's who you should have gave it to. But they wasn't trying to give our people no money back in the early 1900s. No significant money because they would have bought this motherfucker up. They know that. You know what I'm saying? They waited till motherfucker was so deplored, but there's certain shit that had got, erased from our minds, like wanting to own land. Back then, because we were into the agriculture and growing our own food. Of course, land was more important to us. You see, but then when niggas went to the cities and shit, and they looked at the agriculture as being Oh, that's that slave shit, yeah, motherfuckers, became detached, became detached from that. And that's another reason why they was able, because the inheritors of a lot of that land, they didn't want to stay south. So they went on ahead and sold some of the land and shit. Some of it got took, but some of the, because they could get two or three of them, out of maybe 100 people, that had a piece of the land and shit, and so if you can get three out of it, and so the three that sold, they was going up north any motherfucking way. They wasn't gonna stay, so they didn't see no reason why to keep it with their selfish ass. So they sold it to the Neanderthal, and which forced everybody else to sell, for whatever price, that was put down, and that's how they took a lot of it. That's how, but they waited until certain things were no longer a part. We in a concrete jungle. Shit, we living in the city. We ain't thinking, you ain't about to own no whole lot of land, no way up in the city. So, understand, once that was out of our minds and all of that shit, you see, and they know what they did. They know what they did. They know that in 67, when Detroit had the riots, do you know Detroit was the richest city in the United States? Detroit was the richest in 67 when the car manufacturing, the car companies was booming in 1967. Detroit was the richest city in America. Now look at the motherfucker. When they rioted for what they need, they needed to riot for what was happening to our people up in the city. Detroit then had two major riots. They had one back in the 67. The other one was, I believe, in the 20s. And it was bad. It was bad at that time. It was, you know what I'm saying? But we lost a lot of people, lost a lot of black people in both of them riots. That was the majority of who was dying was our people. And when we rioted, and a lot of other cities rioted right around that same time, right around the death of Martin Luther King, and you know what I'm saying? And what they did, that's when you had white flight. They say, fuck y'all. We gonna take all the businesses and shit, and we're gonna go out in the suburbs with the business. They kept a few in the city, but the majority of the tax base, they was the tax base. A lot of the tax base, they split the tax base. They went on out, and that's why a lot of the cities became so heavily black, because the whites went to white flight, and they took all the motherfucking money and they went out in the suburbs. They started building the factories out in the suburbs. Stop, close them down in the city, build them out in the suburb. And so they took the tax base out of a lot of them cities. And because, motherfuckers didn't have the tax base to build the motherfucker back up, you know what I'm saying? On top of that, then here come crack. Here come crack. Another motherfucking demonic entity that came in. And motherfuckers, seeing all, the wealth that could come. Motherfuckers had never seen that kind of money. You see what I'm saying? You show a motherfucker who out here eating jelly sandwiches and eating cheese sandwiches, and motherfuckers are not, you know what I'm saying, making, shit, this is what, and we know it's wrong, but goddamn it, you talking about the people that is, you know what I'm saying, ain't don't see no future other than staying in the projects for the rest of their motherfucking life. You see what I'm saying? They don't see nothing, especially back then. It wasn't shit out here. When Ronald Reagan and them, man, listen, if you look at some of the videos of some of these cities, Detroit was doing well in 67, though. But if you look at some pictures of goddamn New York City, boy, that shit was looking real wild. They really built New York City up compared to what it looked like in the early 70s. Oh, yeah, that shit was wild looking. You feel me? So you got tons and tons of motherfuckers on top of each other. You know what I'm saying? On top of each other and shit. And it's in a fucking depression and shit. And people don't see, motherfuckers saw that money and motherfuckers ain't turned back. They didn't turn back. You understand what I'm saying? But they set it up that way. And yes, our people, yeah, but your own motherfucker. See, this is what I judge everybody at the table. If a crime is committed, you motherfucking convict everybody that was associated with the crime. That's the bullshit I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Where you commit a crime and they find that your hand was in it and you don't get prosecuted, just like anybody else that was a part of the crime. But here it is. You understand what I'm saying? They get exonerated from the goddamn crime. Their names don't get mentioned at all. The motherfucker that bring the dope in don't get mentioned. The motherfucker that bring the guns in they didn't have guns like that in these cities in the early 70s. That's a plan. You don't see no motherfuckers with no damn automatic rifles until you start seeing in the 80s. You see what I'm saying? When the 80s came in, then you start seeing motherfuckers with them Uzis and shit. You see, they start a fucking Israeli fucking machine gun in the Americas. I mean, make that shit make sense. Uzis in the motherfucking urban cities right here in America. Where the fuck did them come from? So all of a sudden, where motherfuckers didn't have access to no goddamn machine gun, all of a sudden now everybody got Uzis and shit. You see what I'm saying? The Uzis was in here before the chopper. You know what I'm saying? You know, the choppers came next, but them Uzis was the first ones in, and them, what they call them, Mac 10s and shit like that. That's what motherfuckers was using. But, so you already know, all of a sudden, where it wasn't no damn, and all of a sudden, then boom, everybody got a machine gun. Where they come from? And they had to ban the fucking Uzi. They banned the motherfucking Uzi. Yeah, I don't even think, but I think they got knockoffs now and shit. But you ain't supposed to be able to get one of them. Yeah, Mac 11. Is it Mac 10 or Mac 11? Yeah, Mac 10. Is it Mac 11 and 10 was before the Mac 11, right? Yeah, both of them. But anyway, so your government supposed to be. That's what the government is there for. Goddamn, man. The government is like the parents of the nation. You see what I'm saying? The parents of the nation. They supposed to look out for the motherfucking nation. The government is supposed to be responsible for a thriving nation. Tech 9 2. Thriving nation. They supposed to eliminate that shit. They're not supposed to be responsible for and then blame it on the people. You understand? If they, if especially a thirsty, impoverished people that know they're going to die in the projects, they ain't shit. And nigga, you dying in the project. That's where you going to die, nigga. And then you show a motherfucker how he can do this and cook this shit up and then go out here and make millions of dollars and shit. Man, what the fuck? What the fuck you think a motherfucker going to do? Yes, it killed a lot of people. It did that, but it was set up by the motherfucking government for it to happen that way, to happen that goddamn way. But you blame the victims. You blame the victim. That's like I like that intro to Dead Prayers where the brother was talking and he was talking about how these ancient hunters up in the north, how they hunt a wolf. You see what I'm saying? And what they would do is that they would take a sword. They would take a knife and they would put blood on the knife. And this motherfucking knife is sharper than a motherfucker. And the wolf won't, when they smell blood, they ready to feed. You know what I'm saying? He think is something to, nourishment. So when he smell the blood and he goes to lick the motherfucking sword, he cuts his own motherfucking tongue. You see what I'm saying? And he drinking and drinking. He don't realize he didn't cut his tongue and he bleeding out. He drinking his own goddamn blood, but he think he eating. You see what I'm saying? And so the brother compared that to people thinking that it was, you got the drugs in here and you see the money and shit, and you think it's something that's fucking bringing resources to you. You see, you thinking something that, is bringing resource, but just like the wolf that licked the goddamn sword and he's drinking his own goddamn blood, the crack cocaine was the same goddamn scenario where we was, thinking we getting resource and we killing each other. You see, and then so instead of blaming the goddamn hunter who put the blade in the fucking ice for the wolf to drink, to kill itself, the goddamn wolf get blamed for trying to live. The wolf get blamed for trying to live. Yes, it's wrong, but goddamn, you talking about the people that been goddamn impoverished to the point where they gonna die in the goddamn projects. You see what I'm saying? Around all that damn madness, he gonna die in the ghetto around a bunch of ass madness, and you motherfucker see any kind of way out of that motherfucker, even if it's a corrupt way. Goddamn, and a lot of people didn't see what crack was gonna do to a motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? They really didn't know in the beginning, but eventually they would know. But nobody knew how devastating crack was gonna be. You see what I'm saying? They didn't know how devastating that shit was. That shit started, it's slow, but then when it got ramped up, man, the murders, the money, the murders, and everything else came with that. Yeah. Yeah, the money and everything, you know what I'm saying? And the deaths and all that, and it devastated. And all they had to do was motherfucking stop the fucking influx of the drugs, and come to find out they bringing the drugs in. They brought the government brought the drugs in. They knew about it. Ronald Reagan knew about it. Oliver North was bringing. He knew it was coming in. He knew it was coming in. And they making money in order to fund, the Iran Contra war, which was like a under the radar war that was going on down there in the Contras, down there in Nicaragua and shit down there. So they taking the crack money that they making, buying guns and shit. So they knew what the fuck they was doing and got busted. And fucking Ronald, who was it? Was it George Bush that pardoned the motherfucker? The Secretary of Defense and a whole lot of motherfuckers. Out of 20 motherfuckers that was indicted, they got indicted and and George Bush just pardoned their ass. Just pardoned them. So that's the crazy shit about us. The little man get all the time. He get all the money and get all the blame. And here it is, these motherfuckers is Adolf Hitlers. And they get pardoned for the shit that they even get found guilty of. They invented crack. Rick Ross, if you listen to the real Rick Ross, he talk about it, how they invented the goddamn crack. The CIA invented the goddamn crack. They had already made that shit down there, and so it was being introduced into, the populace. So they had invented the crack. They had brought in the dope. They making money. The goddamn government is making money off of selling dope. Ain't that a bitch? Get busted, get indicted, and everybody get pardoned. While the little niggas in the street who just trying to live and shit, and they wrong is a motherfucker, but you not gonna tell no motherfucker. See, we living in a different era. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know, y'all, if y'all young out there, if you go look at motherfucking pictures of like New York City back then, man, listen here, New York City look, nigga, they didn't build New York City up since that time. If you go look at, man, that shit was wild. That shit was wild looking, man. Buildings was empty, all type of garbage and shit and everything. They cleaned New York up real good. But back in the goddamn early 80s, that was a fucking hellhole, man. You see, a lot of shit was going on up in that motherfucker. Motherfuckers was getting mugged. All type of crime was going on in that motherfucker. Real talk. In Detroit, after the damn 67, going into the, into the 70s, that motherfucker became depleted too. You see what I'm saying? In a lot of areas. You see, so you talking about motherfuckers in a, a depressed state. They liable to do any motherfucking thing to try to survive and try to halfway see some paradise on this motherfucker before they die. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they tempted our people with. And a lot of motherfuckers fell for that. But who put the blade in the ice for the people so that they could drink on their own blood? Your own fucking government, who's supposed to be the fathers and mothers of the country. That's and we and the citizens are the children. And so this is the best that you can do. Boy, I tell you, man, it's a motherfucker, man. It's a motherfucker out here. I want y'all to listen to this motherfucker. Ray say, do you vote in? Yeah. I don't know what. Ray, who you out there talking to, Ray? I know I ain't vote for shit. Listen to this shit, man. Listen to this.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
Listen to this shit again. You hear that?
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
So he believed that. And so here we go. Wait a minute, is this the one right here?
It's 5. Okay, now 5.
Right, now listen to what he say. Now it's key because we listening to his last words. And his last words, he talking shit about black people. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what he ain't even saying. I ain't never heard him say nothing about the Hispanic people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm quite sure he did. But everything that I bring up, he talking greasy about black people. That's who he talking greasy about. The majority of the shit I hear him talking greasy about is about black people. Okay? I'm just going to be 100. So listen to the timing of this shit. It's like soon as somebody asked him a question, he picked up the mic, he responded, he said something racist towards black people, and the damn timing of that, it was almost like a movie. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like a movie that it was, I mean, it was like playing second by second. Here we go.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Damn. Soon as he said it. Damn, soon as he said it.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Damn. Damn. Did y'all see the video though? Did y'all see the video when he got hit? Who out there saw it? That's right. Say run it one more time. Okay. Yeah, that shit was crazy. I wouldn't be able to play. You know, they'll take that shit off of here.
It's five. Okay, now five is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
I mean, that shit was like as soon as he said it, it was 1 second later. It was 1 second later. Like, so that just let you know, you understand what I'm saying? That the frequency he was on. And that's really why they mad at black people. That's really why they mad at black people, because the ancestors then reached out there to, as they say, the Most High, which I call the ancestors, then reached out there, yeah, and man, god damn, just, you know what I'm saying, reached out there, yeah, and caught him at the right time. Caught him at the right time, and then he say it's some necessary deaths that got to happen. You see what I'm saying? And he became one of those necessary deaths. He became one of them necessary deaths, family. So, you know, I think that this is, you know, and they don't like that somehow, you know, the timing of it, the things that he was talking about, and because he talked about black people so much that in the end that we will have a vindication. You see what I'm saying? Even though we ain't, you know, but it was vindication. You see what I'm saying? You know, with nobody, you know, it's vindication. You know, nobody planned. The only motherfuckers just thought, you know, you gonna continue to hear from this racist motherfucker. They didn't plot his death. They didn't plot his death, but that's how it ended. Nobody plotted his death on it. That's how it ended. And the motherfucker who ended it right there. And listen to me. Didn't I tell y'all he was from Chicago, right? Listen to me. Nobody is telling y'all that. But remember, I told y'all on the other video, I say, you know what? I thought that maybe, because I don't, and it's still my, you know, when they started talking about going into Chicago and shit, you could hear that that's some of his rhetoric. All that gang shit, you know, that's his rhetoric. That's his rhetoric. There's a lot of these ideologies that Trump is implementing come from him. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of, you know, my first thinking was, oh, he out of Chicago. You know, they probably like, motherfucker, you done brought this man up in our house. You know what I'm saying? And you got to understand, there's some other motherfuckers up in Chicago. Chicago ain't one of them cities that just, you know what I'm saying? They got all type of, you know, money on the flow and shit, you know, old money. You got a lot of gangsterism. You got a lot of shit going on in Chicago. Money. He know that. Donald Trump know he got that Trump Towers in Chicago. He know that, you know, and he want to fucking go into New York and he want to go into Chicago. You going into some old gangster cities, motherfucker. This motherfuckers up in there just they ain't gonna lay down like that. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna lay down like that. And so that I'm thinking, and do you notice that he pulled out of Chicago? Didn't I say it? Didn't I say it? Didn't he pull out? He talking about he going to Memphis now. Yeah, ain't that ironic? Listen to me now. Didn't I tell y'all? Okay then. Now how ironic that he say he not going into Chicago right now. He going into Memphis. Tell me if I call that. Yeah. Say Trump doing some good, General. He is. What he doing good? Fucking up. Yeah, he doing some good fucking up. Yeah. If he would get on, if he would get on Vladimir Putin and Netanyahu like he getting on black people, I was you understand what I'm saying? It would be something different. You see? it would be something different. But he ain't getting on Vladimir Putin and Netanyahu. You understand? Netanyahu for like he getting on black people. So fuck him. I don't give a fuck what he doing. You see what I'm saying? He might be doing it, but is it balanced in the scale? Is it balanced in the scale? Yeah. Is it balanced in the scale? And so I'm ready for that motherfucker to be gone, man. Now, I ain't know the immigrant thing. Yeah, okay. The immigrant thing, okay. The immigrant thing, okay. I give him that. I give him the immigrant thing. But I don't give him shit else. Trying to erase our history and shit, and this, that, and the third, trying to erase our history and all that. Fuck that. I don't give a fuck. And that come from him. That all that shit he's implementing come from Charlie Kirk. You feel what I'm saying? And so yeah, I ain't got no, I ain't fucked up. I ain't got nothing to say about him. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how I feel. You see, at the end of the day, you got to balance that shit. Is the good outweighing the bad? And I don't think so. I don't think so. You see what I'm saying? Because at the same time, he trying to come for us too. So, you know, fuck him. Yeah, you know I'm up. You already know. But anyway, I just wanted y'all to see that, you know, how the ancestors, you know, had their energy in that. You know what I'm saying? They was like, you know, whatever. But that shit, the timing of that was just, it was too immaculate. You see? Yeah. Too motherfucking immaculate. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was his man. That's who he was the one. He talked shit about Martin Luther King. He talked shit about Martin Luther King and Donald Trump. He said, man, he talked shit about Martin Luther King. And then the statue of Martin Luther King, Donald Trump moved it out the Oval Office. You see what I'm saying? That's who he getting all that shit from, man. Fuck him. All right, family. I just wanted to show y'all that we're gonna be black a little later today. It's Monday, family. We're gonna get down a little later today. Thank y'all for hanging out with the general. I'll see y'all soon. Y'all already know what it is over here. You know how we keep it. We keep it a stack. We keep it a million over here. We keep it a zillion over here. This is General Cyrus Seti saying, hey, click some of them links, support the general, arm yourself with knowledge, bang on that wicked ass beast daily, liberation through African education and confrontation, Black Power.